I remember you holding the first nutrition summit at the White House. I believe it was 2022. We've come a long way from there, haven't we?
We have, and back then I was filled with hope that we would not only be able to advance policies to promote better nutrition, but we would also advance policies to end hunger in this country. We're the richest country in the history of the world. We got 46 million Americans who don't know where their next meal is going to come from. We all should be ashamed by that fact. And this administration is making things worse by trying to cancel SNAP benefits, and they have the authority to fully pay everybody's SNAP benefits. It really is the ultimate in cruelty.
You know, Mr. Lawler and other Republicans I've spoken to on the air here said that Democrats voted to defund SNAP when they voted against the continuing resolution repeatedly. What would be your response?
Well, first of all, there's a contingency fund, which the court has now ordered the president to draw down.
Yeah.
But then the president has the ability to be able to move money around in USDA. I mean, he's able to find money to pay masked ICE agents who are wreaking havoc on our communities. He found $40 billion to bail out some right-wing cuckoo clock in Argentina, but he can't find it within his heart to make sure that 40 million Americans get the food that they need to be able to survive. I mean, like, what's wrong with this guy? And so, look, you know, this is a problem that doesn't have to exist. The president has the authority to fully implement SNAP in a way that everybody gets their benefits.
So how does this end, Congressman? You've been at this for some time. You were chair of the Rules Committee in a recent session of Congress, and you know what it's like to do some deal making. But we keep hearing no one's talking. You're in Washington right now, but the House has been out of session for 45 days, if my count is still correct. Where are the off-ramps? Every time something gets paid for, whether it's SNAP or military paychecks, seems to remove another pain point.
Well, one is, I mean, Speaker Johnson ought to call Republicans back. I mean, they've been on a 7-week vacation. Come back and do your job. They're always demanding more work requirements on poor people for SNAP and Medicaid. We ought to have work requirements on the Republicans that if you don't show up, then you don't get paid. You need to come together and we need to have a discussion. And look, Congressman Lawler is wrong. This is not a clean CR. This includes the firings of countless federal employees and unilateral cuts that Trump doesn't have the authority to do, but he's done anyway without any pushback from the Republicans. And all we're saying is that if you need our votes, because you control everything, then don't screw over tens of millions of Americans on their health care. I mean, people are getting bills now where their health care premiums are doubling or tripling. I mean, they're going to lose their health care, or they're going to have to go without food because they won't be able to afford to pay for their health care and food together. So, I mean, that's the way out. Let's not screw over millions of people on their health care.
The president seems to think that ending the filibuster is the way out. Congressman, he talked about it on 60 Minutes. I'd like you to hear what he said, and we'll have you respond. Here's the president.
I think we should do the nuclear option. This is a totally different nuclear, by the way. It's called ending the filibuster. You know what? The Republicans have to get tougher. If we end the filibuster, we can do exactly what we want. We're not going to lose power. The theory is, oh, then we'll do it, but then when they get into power someday, they'll do it. That's true, but you know what?
So you think John
We're here right now. No, I like John Thune. I think he's terrific, but I disagree with him.
The president said on Truth Social that Democrats, if we don't do it now, Democrats will do it as soon as they're back in power. Is that true?
Well, you know, no, that's not true. And the president is just interested in getting more power for himself. I mean, he does think he's a king. But the bottom line is getting tougher. Getting tougher on who? The president ran for office on America First. You know, he said he was going to address the concerns that everyday Americans have. He's done the opposite. He's hurt everyday Americans. I mean, America First to me means feeding Americans. It means not allowing their health care premiums to double or triple. I mean, that's America First. All this president cares about is enriching himself and his kids and his family. I mean, he's the most corrupt U.S. president. I used to say the most corrupt U.S. president in recent history. I now would remove the word recent. It's shameful what he's doing and all the money he's making, and he's more interested in remodeling the Lincoln bathroom and building this gaudy Marie Antoinette ballroom. I mean, really, I mean, the American people care about things that impact their lives directly. They look at life through their kitchen window. They want to be able to pay their health care bills. They want to be able to afford their groceries. Those are the issues that people want us to focus on. And that's why Mike Johnson ought to bring the Republicans back, and we ought to be able to work out a deal where people don't get screwed on their health care.
If this keeps going, though, Congressman, and we keep saying there are no signs of this ending anytime soon, if we start rolling up on Thanksgiving, for instance, would it behoove Democrats to vote for the CR just to reopen the government to help people get food, to keep people from going hungry?
Yeah. So here's the deal. I mean, we're being told that if you want to feed people, you have to take away their health care. I mean, these are choices that we should be making. The bottom line is government is supposed to be about helping people, not hurting people. And Mike Johnson and the Republicans and Donald Trump don't care about regular people. They really don't. They're more interested in enriching those who are already well off, the people who write out big checks for their pet causes and for their campaigns. I think people want us to focus in on issues that matter to them. And that's all I mean, really, it's a radical. Is it radical to want to make sure people don't have to pay double or triple for their health insurance bills? I mean, that's the issue. And Republicans are saying, who cares? They all have concierge health care. But the people I represent, they rely on their health insurance to be able to provide some sense of security in their lives and in the lives of their families.
Congressman McGovern, I have to ask you while you're with us about what's happening in the Caribbean, and that's, of course, due to a number of issues, including your longstanding relationship with Cuba and your efforts to normalize relations with the government of Cuba, something that, for full disclosure, I traveled to Cuba to cover in one of your final trips there during a previous administration. There's something going on off the coast of Venezuela. There's a flotilla that has been amassed that many are wondering what exactly will be used for. We just blew up another alleged drug boat that I think is approaching a dozen now at this point. Does this smack of regime change in Venezuela? What's about to happen?
Yeah, I have no idea what's about to happen, but I do know that what the president is doing is illegal under U.S. law and under international law. These are extrajudicial killings. And those aren't my words. Those are the words of Republican Senator Rand Paul. If he wants to do this kind of stuff, he needs to come to Congress and ask for authorization. I'm not even sure he's even briefed Congress. But if we had a functioning Congress, if the Republicans weren't so afraid of him, they would demand some accountability here, and they're saying nothing.
Rand Paul said that right on this program, as a matter of fact, Congressman, and he's on an island in the Republican Party. Is there any way that a War Powers Act could get votes to pass in the Senate?
Yeah, I would like to think there would be. I mean, going to war is a big deal.
Yeah.
And what I've learned is that it's easy to get into wars. It's hard as hell to get out of them. There ought to be a full debate, and there ought to be a vote. And people ought to take responsibility for what's going on. But what is happening right now is illegal. And I would hope that some of my Republican friends would have the guts to stand up and tell the president that to his face. There's a right way to do things, there's a wrong way to do things. The way the president is doing this is wrong.